So welcome back YouTube. Today we're showing you another AC video. We are fitting the Worcester Bosch 7000 range. This is the one where you get the 7-year warranty. This is a 5.3 kilowatt unit. You probably already noticed the outdoor unit's in, it's piped up, it's wired up, it's all the way to the indoor. It's because I've done videos before, I've showed you a lot how we do the outside connections and the electrics and that. Today I want to focus on the indoor connections. We've got a condensate pump to put in, and I'm going to show you like the commissioning procedure, the testing procedure, so you can see how we do it to make sure these units are running safely and efficiently. So for now we have got outdoor unit in, pipe working, we're just moving on to the indoor unit. Let's go take a look. So this is the condensate pump we're going to be fitting. I've just started unpacking it. It's Saucerman Delta pack, so you get the pump inside a trunk elbow. You see it's low operating sound on it, it's quick installation it says, but we're going to show you how to do that. There's your pump, little condensate pump which will fit inside the elbow basically. So everything in this pack is there ready to go to fit your condensate pump. You've got the electrics, I'll show you the wiring on that, the trunking, ceiling rolls, fittings pack. So yeah, show you to fit that. We am just prepping up the indoor unit to fit. I've done a couple of videos now on how we fit them, so next time I pick it up that should be on the wall and we should be connecting up the condensate pump. Indoor unit now is all up, I can show you that in a bit, but we're outside now doing the safety checks that you've got to do when you install any type of refrigerant system. So first test we're going to do is the strength test. So you've got the oxygen free nitrogen, got a hose going from the unit there to the red port on the Testo, that's the Testo 558S. Then we've got another one coming out the blue port here, going up to the unit here. So when you first do it, you make sure this is back spun on negatives, and you open up your nitrogen bottle because that will control the pressure. So make sure that's open like that. Sorry, make sure that's closed like that. That's what you got to get your head around. Opening is closing, closing is opening. So open that. And then with this part here, you can put it up to whatever pressure you want. So you can start increasing that. Actually, Chris, do you want to increase that? And I can show people on here what we're getting, because this is the Testo app. So you can use it on your gauge here or on here. So we can watch that, and we want to get that up to 48 bar. So there you go, you can see we've got that to 48 bar. That is loosened off, so there's no more nitrogen going through now. That is literally 48 bar in the system, and that's your strength test. That's the first test you do to make sure all your pipes, all your joints are okay. What we'd recommend is don't go hell for leather opening that, just do it in increments. Don't just whack it open, just do it in increments. You can see now 48 bar. We're going to just let that rest now and just see, make sure it doesn't drop. Let it stabilise, make sure it doesn't drop. How long are you supposed to do a strength test for? That's up to you. You can do it as long as you want. It depends how you store it really. We got told 10-15 minutes on training, then we got told, well, as soon as you rack it up to what it's supposed to be, it don't drop. There you go, strength test done. But it's totally up to you. We normally leave about 5-10 minutes just to make sure. It's probably going to be HVAC engineers, so you don't need to do that all your way doing it long enough. Literally 5 minutes a pipe. You take like some of the big boy systems they play on. So your strength test, you can do whatever time you want. But we're just going to leave that now. Make sure we've got no leaks. So the next test we're doing is the pressure test. This is the test that you've got to do to make sure you've definitely got no leaks basically. Strength test, make sure it's going to hold. Your pressure test, make sure you've got no leaks, okay? So we're going to put that down to 44 bar. Now, it depends on what system you're fitting. Let's say we've got the Bosch unit here, that's what it says in the Bosch unit, 44, 48. You've got to check the manufacturing instructions. Don't just take it that it's 44 and 48 on any type of system you're fitting. It's not going to be. It's going to be different for each type of system you're installing. So let's get back down to 44 for the pressure test. You can see now we're just dropping it down to 44 bar. This is the one that you've got to do for your pressure test. Chris has been very precise. So all Chris was doing there, we're just letting it out just there. So we've got a safety valve here. What's he doing from there?
Yeah, so I was slacking that off and I was just throttling backwards and forwards with that.
There you go. So basically it's just an easy way to get it out. So you can see the time is starting now, we're on 44.61, so we're going to check that in a bit to make sure that it's past the pressure test. But there's a good time to start doing your indoor finishing off. Pressure test you want to get on as soon as you can. So get your pipe work in, get your pressure test on, because that's what it's going to take the longest amount of time. So what we can do now is actually do all the wiring, all the cosmetic stuff, all that, because we've got a bit of time to kill, because we've got to leave that now to do the pressure test. The good thing about having that Testo that I showed you earlier is it's on your phone, but you're not trying to really gauge. It's within 0.2 of a decimal place of a bar. So if I just show you there, I don't know if you can see, it's reading 44.62. So on a gauge, a mechanical gauge, you've got to look, you know exactly where it is. With that, we haven't. We already know what it started at and what it's going to end at. One thing I do regret is I bought mechanical gauges. My mate's gone out and bought that. He's got that. And I really want it now. I do want that. So if I give you any advice, if you're new to AC, bite the bullet, get something like that. Something that's digital. I'd go digital rather than mechanical. If anybody thinks different, let me know. But yeah, digital definitely the way to go. So I did say I'll show you the indoor unit. So the indoor unit's on now. That's the wire there from our pump, from the condensate pump I'm going to show, and that's the one all the way to the outdoor unit. And there is our condensate pump. So the kit that I showed you earlier is the trunking to the wall, the elbow piece. There's our refrigerant lines, and there's the pump. So you just put your pump, it's a little home here. You got the 1/4 inch braided hose just there. We are going to put a cable tie on there. That connects into the pump, and this pump pipe here actually comes with the kit. We'll connect on to the Worcester unit back here, which you ain't going to see. There's a one-way valve in there. So basically you just put your pump in there, connect it onto there, a couple of cable ties, then you can see the trunking go over it in a bit. But yeah, them dead easy to fit them. The wiring, we'll show you all the wiring in a bit. But yeah, then it just slots in there, you connect it up, and there you go. That's your little condensate pump all in. So with the trunking, you just see Chris has put the top piece on, then there's like a little collet goes around the top. Look at that. That looks well smart. And now you're just going to get the elbow, put the elbow on, and the trunking on there. There you go, trunking all on. A little rubber piece to go on. Then once the case goes back on then, it'll just butt against that rubber piece. Easy peasy. So I'm just going to explain the wiring. So you can see it's all wired up on ferrules. We put all them in. So you've got W and S, okay? W and S in your two switches. Whatever you wired it indoor, wire it to your, whatever you wired it outdoor to, you wire it indoor exactly the same. But you can see the smaller cables here are off the condensate pump. The condensate pump, you got live and neutral, okay? Live goes into live, connected to your outdoor unit. Neutral's neutral, right? You got one of your switches here, which is S. The other switch here, which is W. But you can see one of the smaller wires here is actually connected to the condensate pump. It's because we've got it linked here. Okay, that's your dead switch. So if your condensate pump fails, it'll stop the unit. Okay, so you imagine it's going to be it's going to cut the unit off here because it's got to go through the condensate pump first before it goes back through. I'll have to do a diagram just to explain that because it might be a little bit fiddly, but that's how you wire up them pumps like that. You can use this end terminal on this model to make your link, okay? You'll have to check the models that you fit, whether you've got one of these. If not, you have to use connector block. So I'll probably be able to explain it a little bit better here. So outdoor unit here, right? So we've got W going to W, okay? The other one, S, right, from your outdoor is going into here, the blank. Okay, your condensate pump here, we're going to have connected there. So it's going through like that. Okay, then that from your condensate pump is going to come back through to S. So you can see there, it has to go through the pump to power it. Okay, if that pump dies, it'll cut the power to here and it won't work. That's how you wire it in. It's a little bit like a condensate pump for a boiler. Okay, it's a kill switch. So I hope just doing that little diagram there has helped it make sense. So you're just basically using your pump as a kill switch. So if it ever fails, it'll stop the unit. So last thing you want is just building up condensate. So that's how you wire up them little pumps. Them dead easy, to be honest with you. They really am. So now we're near enough ready to stop the pressure test and get set up with the vacuum. Right, so I think Chris is outside now. Yeah, I can hear the vacuum pump set up. We're just setting up now to do the vacuum. So this is our little vacuum pump that we got. It's a value vacuum pump. So you got one hose from here. It's a big bore hose because it'll give you a better vacuum and a quicker one. So we got that connected to the middle right gauge on your Testo. Okay, so that's open now. Then we got the vacuum gauge here. That's all on the app. So that's connected to there, right? And because it's already connected to here, this is where it's pulling the vacuum from. So it's pulling the vacuum now down here. This one's open through there, down to your vacuum pump. And you can see on the gauge here, it's very hard to see, to be honest with the light. But yeah, we am looking for that number there to be as low as possible. You can see it dropping. It's measured in torque. We can probably get that down to 0.2 of a torque. So I've got the phone here, you'll be able to see better. There you go. Can you see it dropping? So we can probably get that down to 0.2 of a torque, but you're never going to create a true vacuum. Not even the good people at NASA can make a true vacuum. Never going to happen. You just want the best vacuum as you can. So the number we're looking for here, there's nothing to say what you can go down to. You just want it as low as you can, right? We'll show you why in a minute. So we're just going to let that run, get that number down as low as possible to make sure we've got a really good vacuum on that system before we open anything up. That's low enough now. So before you turn that off, right, make sure you lock it off, because if you don't, that will just shoot up because you'll lose your vacuum. You gotta make sure you shut it off before you turn it off. So that now should be ready to shut off. So yeah, Chris is just gonna shut off the gauge there and then shut off the pump. And you don't want that jumping right up. You don't. It will go up. It will go up, but now he's going to press start. I don't know if you can see the screen because of the bloody sun, but yeah, basically we've got to watch this graph now. The tour on there, hold on, let me see if I can get it in the shade. You might be able to see that better. So yeah, the tour now, you see it will go up, but you don't need to shoot up. It'll just go up, then go out on a curve. 15 minutes, leave that for, then see what vacuum we've got left. So we ended up with about 1.1. 1.1, that is well below 2. So we're just going to disconnect it now because we know we've got a good vacuum. Is that shut off? Everything's off. Okay, I always get paranoid that I've left something open. So just disconnect your gauge, your vacuum gauge now. Pop that out of the way. We don't need that anymore. The nitrogen one, we've got that out of the way. That's safely out of the way now. So we don't need that one. Just put your caps on as you're taking stuff off. And then it's ready to open up. And that's the nice part of the job, when you release the gas, get the gas in there and it finally comes on. But yeah, that's the strength test, pressure test, vacuum, all done correctly. Just time to commission it now. Make sure it's working as it should be. 5 mil. Yeah. There we go. So what we're doing now is releasing the gas in. Don't know if you leave it on camera, but you got straight through. That won't come out. You can turn that all the way out and it'll just stop. So don't be scared to undo it. There you go. And just do it a couple of turns back like Chris just did. And make sure you put your cap back on, which is this one. I was hiding from you. Pressure we go.
Back on the other side.
10 bar. So you need a spanner. Oh, that was tight. There we go. That's both lines open now. Just turned it on at fuse board. If your dog a bang, you've done something right. There you go. That'll do a lot, does it? Now I can see inside the unit on. Let's go and pop that on. So the gauge is still connected. Got to run our tests. We've got the indoor unit on there blowing. Oh my god, it is ice cold. So if I take you outside now. Somebody asked, how noisy am they? The microphone's strapped to me. I'm standing about there. Let me just get right up close to it. Literally right next to it now where you can feel the heat off it. It's about as noisy as the amp. It ain't noisy at all. What pressure are we on? On that about 8. It's on 7.7. 7.8. There you go. So yeah, that's on cooling. You can put these into maximum. There's a little button on the indoor unit. I think I've showed that on a video before. You can put them on maximum. I've just got it on cooling at the moment just to make sure it's all working. So put the rotary switch on, turn the indoor unit on, and it just come on. The wonders of modern technology. Aircon, man. It is pretty new, but I really do think the market is going to boom for aircon. I do. I think it's getting more accessible to people, getting within people's price ranges. People don't like to think that our summers are getting hotter. They am. They am. And I think it's people's... Like back in like my mum and dad's day, right? You was hot, you open the window. You got on with it, okay? But now people go to work, they've got air-conditioned office. You go for a coffee, it's all air-conditioned. You go out for a meal, it's air-conditioned. You go home on a hot summer's day, it's muggy, it's horrible. People don't want to live with it no more. So these type of units are going to get a lot more popular. They really are. That's why I moved into the market. But yeah, let's run through testing, commissioning, stuff like that now. And make sure this is actually running as it's supposed to be. So we've got our own like commissioning checklist that we do. So on there it's going to ask you refrigerant pressures. So we've done standing was 10.8, cooling was 7.8. But what we're doing now is the temperature on cooling. So we're going to do it off and on. So off will be down here and on will be above where it's sucking the air in. And we'll just measure the temperatures from that and record it down. And it'll go right the way down this one. I think the last one we did was about 7 degrees, something like that. So it will come right down. You can see it's already going down now. Yeah, air off was 6 degrees.
The speed was... Well, let's do air on.
So basically the unit's at full whack and 6 degrees coming off on cooling. Let's get the lads out and just check what we've got going on. I mean, really this should be working spot on because the pressures and spot on. If the pressures are right, then all this should be correct anyway. But yeah, we'll check it and document it just so we know it's all installed correctly. So we're just doing the heating checks. Oh, we can see that 50 degrees nearly blowing out of there. My God. The air conditioning units are actually more efficient in heating. Really, and so what we're basically doing now is telling that to reverse everything it's just done. We want it to drag the cold out of here and get some hot air in. So in cooling, it'll drag the heat out and put the cooling. But yeah, 51. I mean, the heat off that, I can feel it like standing here. Wow, I'm very impressed with the heating on that. That is warm. So we've tested it on heating, we've tested it on cooling. Now we know it's at a decent temperature inside. The last one we're going to check is the pressure on the heating, right? Don't disconnect your gauge with it on heating. Do not do that, okay? Make sure you've got it on cooling before you disconnect your gauge. Just have a look what we got. 35.8 bar. So you can see massive difference between heating and cooling. I did not mean to press that. There we go. 38 bar. Wow. That's it. That is all the tests done. So you can see now why you do the pressure test so high. It's not for the cooling, it's for the heating. The heating, when that's on, the pressures go right up. And that is some serious pressure, man. That is a lot of pressure. So you have to be careful doing F-gas. Right, got the controller. The controls are pretty easy, let me show you. There we go. So if I press that button there, it cycles. Can you see the top there? So we're just going to put that on cool. This that one's temperature, turn it down. That will go all the way down to 16. Whatever I'm going to put it down on there, will go down on there. That's 16. So now we're masking it now to do the exact opposite. So it's going to reverse the cycle. But the controls are pretty easy to do. You've got loads of different miles on there. There's a nice thick book. Let me just show you the books over here, because when me and Chris first did one of these, we was like, oh my God, I am not reading all that. Yeah, it's because it's every single language. So English is only page 67 to 82, right? Now you might say refer to figure so and so, right? The figures and the diagrams and all your pictures are in the back of the book, okay? So you've got one there for that, and that's like installation instructions. This is the customer one. again, it looks massive, but if you look at the English, it's 10 pages. That's it. Then you've got your safety manual for your R32. That's a lot of trees for a lot of manuals, eh? Yeah, there you go. So yeah, just got it on cooling now. We can disconnect the gauges outside once that's in cooling mode. Oh, it's just in cooling now. Just turned it off, so it should be sucking through the line there. Should be sucking all that out. So turn that one off, and we can disconnect that one with your gloves on. Then we can get some gloves. My gloves have seen better days. What is that? Jesus Christ. Yeah, don't blame it at me. Get that cap on. You're still going to have a bit left in that line, mate. Just going to bob the cap back on. Face that away from you. And open it up. That's it. That's it all disconnected. There you go, that's a Bosch 7000 Climate, 7-year warranty, all fitted, all working, all tested safely. So I really want to do a video to show what testing procedure we do when we fit these appliances. So they ain't just a case of banging some pipe to them, opening them up and just seeing how they run. You have to test them and make sure they're fitted correctly. But now we've got that one fitted all correctly. You've seen all the pressure and everything we did, seen the way we did it. We know now we fitted that the best we could. That's another air conditioning unit all fitted. Do me a favour though, if you got this far and you ain't subscribed, click subscribe. It helps me out and it's totally free. If I do more videos, you'll get notified and hopefully I can help you out a bit more. But hopefully you've enjoyed that video. Any questions, drop them in the comments. I'll do my best to help you and answer them. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all on the next one.